Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. Today, we're just going to have a video about everything. Alright? So this isn't going to be where I focus on one particular clip. Over the past couple days, I've gotten an array of interesting information, videos, images, and we're just going to go through them one by one here in this video. And we'll just show you some pretty interesting things that we've been looking at over the past week. The first of which is the video you're seeing here from a man in Victoria, Canada, who was recording these clouds, and he spotted what looked like one of these invisible UFOs sitting in the clouds, creating this perfect square indentation or a box or a cube shaped indent in these clouds, and you're seeing that in the video here. And he said it just didn't look natural to him. You'll get the gist of the footage here, and you can see this thing is a perfect square. I mean, right sharp edges all the way on the sides and the tops and bottom, and it's just sitting there as these other clouds slowly move around it. Now, it's a short clip, but this isn't the first time that we've talked about these objects that have been found moving in our atmosphere using some sort of cloaking or invisibility technology that allows them to remain unseen. Nonetheless, because they are physical objects, they create these indentations in the cloud cover, and the clouds, coincidentally, allow these structures to momentarily come into view, at least the outline of these UFOs to come into view for people who've seen them. And a lot of the times, people will hear the sounds coming from these structures. We've pointed this out on various videos. Here are some other images where we have seen these perfect circular holes being punched in the clouds by these things, which come in many different shapes, saucer shapes, square shapes. We posted a recent video which has gotten a massive amount of attention. The image from that you're seeing here of one of these massive machines up in the sky, almost had like a cigar shape to it, that was momentarily outlined by the clouds as it passed over a man's home, scaring the man to death, no less, but he captured some amazing footage. Now, speaking of interesting things happening in the clouds, we come to another piece of footage here, which we'll go ahead and let you watch, and then we'll talk about in just a minute.
Bright shining colors. I'm taking a video. Ooh, it's green and red.
It's blue and purpley. Oh my god, look at it!
Looking.
Look at it! Wow. Maybe they need the clouds to see the colors.
So this piece of video was sent to us by a viewer out in San Antonio, Texas on May 8th at about 11:30 p.m. Where they saw these mysterious lights in the clouds, which lasted for about 2 hours. The source even went on to check the flight radar over the area and found no evidence of planes or helicopters in the sky above her neighborhood. She's also stated that she's constantly seeing, however, the sound of airplanes or helicopters hovering over the area, and said she saw at least 10 of them earlier today, as if they're there maybe monitoring something or looking for something. But nonetheless, it's very interesting footage. So kudos to Chloe from San Antonio. Next, we're going to go to a video that was sent to me on Facebook from someone who was actually looking at the ISS live stream and noticed that when she viewed the ISS feed at an angle with her personal video camera, is basically what you're seeing here, which increased basically the contrast, which you can do yourself. I mean, you can look at your screen at an angle and see the brightness of any dark objects become much brighter and you get much more detail when you're looking almost right above and down at your screen from an angle, and that's what she's doing here with her video camera. And she saw these very strange outlines and objects in the darkness of space over Earth on the ISS live stream, as you're seeing here. She noted this large circular object peeking up over the Earth's horizon, along with another strange object, which, if you look, actually is going behind the ISS solar panel. And then if you look to the very top, we see another very strange structure that has a lot of detail to it. And obviously, I can't make out what it is, but it's very interesting. And again, when you're looking at these official NASA videos or images, whether from the moon missions or taken from Earth, and you look at these dark black images of space, and you would assume that it's just empty space. But a lot of the times, and we've shown this on the channel, you increase the contrast and you can bring out these objects that are hiding in the darkness of space. Some of which we've caught NASA trying to intentionally cover up. And just to show you what I'm talking about, here is one of those very images taken during the Apollo mission. Basically, we have a side-by comparison of the same image. To the left, we see the darkness of space on the moon. We see the astronaut walking on the moon. And to the right, we see the contrast enhanced version, where we brighten it, and all of a sudden, we see this massive rectangular building or structure far in the background, which would corroborate all of the testimony that we've heard and that we've identified about these towering structures that are on the moon that NASA has tried so hard to hide from us. Now, while we're on the topic of NASA and, well, space photos in general, here's an image that you may or may not have seen before, documenting one of these mysterious golden wheel type UFOs out in space. Some people call it the Ezekiel wheel, which is, of course, a biblical reference, but that's a topic for a whole nother video, so we'll just stick to what we have and the evidence we have in the imagery here. But there's a few Apollo 8 images, one of which you're seeing here, showing in the distance what looks like a massive wheel or ring-shaped structure. It actually reminds me of the Elysium structure in the movie Elysium. If you haven't seen it, it's a wonderful movie. Do check it out, about this giant wheel-shaped space station created to house the most rich and powerful people of Earth, while everyone else gets to stay down here on the planet. And here is another image showing the Earth from a different angle, where again we see this mysterious ring shaped structure, which also has a horizontal line running through the middle. And here's a side-by-side comparison from one of the ships from the Star Wars films, which oddly enough looks very similar. And it's always Star Wars films that I've noticed that a lot of these UFOs we've been finding on other planets and in space, they have a very eerie similarity to certain objects, fictional supposedly objects, that are in these Star Wars films that were created in the 70s, before we even had any of these images of planets or structures. So, you know, is it just a massive coincidence that George Lucas was able to create all of these fictional objects that 50 years later he didn't realize would be found by researchers like us, that basically are identical and look as if to be the prototype for what he put in those films? I mean, it's very mind-boggling. And speaking of these Elysium-type wheels, here is an image of one of these structures, again, from an early Secure Team video, showing another one of these massive structures caught above Earth on a GoPro camera that was attached to a balloon and sent up into Earth's upper atmosphere, as you'll see many people are doing today. So the question remains, could there be these massive wheel or ring-shaped structures out in space? And I definitely would not rule anything out as it pertains to that just yet. And back to the Apollo images, that we were showing you earlier. Here we have an Apollo 17 image showing you some of the UFOs that were captured on the moon. We're going to show you a couple images here that aren't very well known, and some of them we haven't even posted on this channel before. But there was a lot of UFO activity that happened while we went to the moon during all of the missions that happened, that have even been spoken about by astronauts who were there. A lot of UFOs seen to and from the moon, as well as while they were on the moon. And here is one of those images here, and as we zoom in up here in the right hand corner, we begin to see this massive green, almost triangular shaped UFO. But if you'll notice, it's actually in the perfect shape of the chevron, which is on the official NASA logo. Now, the chevron, which is this shape here, is a very mysterious structure that have been seen in a lot of NASA images and in a lot of UFO images and video. And you will find the chevron symbol in an entire list of different space agencies or military agencies. There's something with the chevron that the government and the space agencies are tied to and are not telling us about. As you're seeing in the logos from Russia here, China, Japan, India, Canada, and the US, they all feature the chevron symbol. And again, as I said, is also the same shape as many UFOs, photographed not only by NASA, but by people all over the world. This V shape is one of the most recognized in the UFO research field. And it's just one of those things we haven't really spoke about on this channel. So yeah, the chevron, the symbol, the shape, and the connection to the UFO phenomenon is a very interesting topic. So do your research on that when you have time. Another image from the moon, which you're seeing here, gives us a view of another possible V-shaped UFO above the moon. And as we zoom in here, we begin to see the outline via these three blue lights in a perfect triangle, possibly a TR-3B style craft flying overhead over the moon. And if you've watched our past videos, we've shown you the clip of one of the astronauts while they were on the moon famously saying that, yeah, we've got visitors again. And the other astronaut says, yeah, hardly worth mentioning. So you get the idea that these UFOs on the moon flying overhead were so common, that the astronauts didn't really seem fazed by it. And of course, they were told not to say anything about what they saw, at least not on the public channel during the radio transmissions. So, again, there's a lot of good, interesting evidence coming into us lately. We hope you enjoyed all of the video and photographic evidence we've shown you today. There's a lot of really interesting stuff coming into us lately. So I will continue to post videos on that. Be sure to get yourself up to speed. If you're new to the channel, check out all of our past videos. That way you understand everything we talk about. I'm doing my best to explain certain things that we've talked about in the past, but who a lot of you who I know are new to the channel may not have a specific reference to of understanding, especially if you're new to this research. So again, subscribe, share, let me know what you guys think, and yeah, stick around, and we'll be back soon with much, much more.